I don't know about that.
Even if I want, I'm always.
So before we officially get started, for those, I only had one of you, I think, that missed SU2, but we'll get you the information, of course. Feedback, like what did you, I'm looking for positive feedback from SU2. Let's make it easy. Biggest light bulbs for you from the conference, whether it be, one would be like an actual tip that'll help your business, and another one more like a mentality and kind of a awakening light bulb, if you will, like life skill, if you will. So I'm just curious, I want to go around the horn. No particular, Hunter.
Okay. So the first light bulb with like my presentation, I would say, was after on the first day where they had the FSMs giving their sample demos. I went to that, and I can't remember who it was, but this one guy told me it's like more important to elaborate like on the sets and compare the sets like other sets than you do on like the pieces, because I found that a lot of times I would talk too much about the pieces and almost kind of talk.
And then you sell more.
Yeah, exactly.
Pieces, yeah, okay.
And then I think, I can't remember who it was, but someone was talking and he's like, everyone's always looking for the right time to start, but there is really no right time to like jump into.
It's like I want to give you hear someone say, I only want to do it if I can give 100%. Right? Well, then they're just waiting. Okay, that's a good point. Cool. Other takeaways, like.
Definitely slaying your dragon. Slaying your dragon. That's
Rick was making a joke. He said, "I said, what's the feedback you're getting? Is everyone wants to slay their dragon?"
Yes.
I wasn't there.
You got the sword right there.
So go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Slaying the dragon and the analogy of the bull versus the cow. That was very interesting because I'm very big animal freak, and it's true. A lot of people try to run away from the storm while going into it head on.
Oh, yeah, the buffalo and the cow. That's right.
Yeah.
Scott said. Good point. I think that ties into my quote, or not my quote, but a quote I love, which is the adversity willingly undergone is the greatest virtue. So you run towards the storm. So good point. Other takeaways?
I like
Say it again.
Dilemmas.
Got it.
I like to Andy Johnson said, treat your business like if you're going to be working in it for 40 years, like every single day. I really like that. And as well as I believe her name is Nicole Cray. Okay, I really liked how I think that her tip would help me in my demos, which would be tell your customers, like, would you rather walk to work every day or would you rather take your car to work every day? It's cheaper to walk, but you lose time, energy, and everything while you do that. So the same analogy with the knives.
I don't even sell anymore, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah. So that was like a light bulb for me. Like I'm gonna start now.
It's profound, isn't it? But so, like, it is cheaper to walk, but you don't walk. That's a good point.
This being penny wise and
That's
pound
right.
foolish.
That's right, Carmen. Any other tab from you? Takeaways?
That lady that spoke before Andrew did, that was like
Jordan.
amazing for me because, you go into it thinking, maybe I could do it, but like the encouragement, the level of encouragement that's there, and it just gives you the fuel that you need to move forward.
Yeah.
And, get it done.
That event, if you're not excited, feeling more supported, more positive after that event, then you just should not. You should turn your kid in.
Check your pulse.
Right. No, I would imagine there are some people where that event wasn't for them, but it was probably already predetermined before they got there. So good. Other positive takeaways?
And definitely the dip into it because right before it gets good, it sometimes gets bad. So like if you stay the course,
I think Scott was referencing the dip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I also wanted to say thank you for a great push effort from our division. I know we didn't take number one. In fact, we were not even close. We were number 4 out of 6. But I have to tell you that it was a close 4 out of 6. And for the size of our team and just for all the things that are going on, pound for pound, we had one of the best push performances in history of FCI. It doesn't seem like it when you're 4th out of 6. But if you know all the details, if you kind of get, all the things that are behind the scenes about the size of our division and things that are going on, new managers and veteran managers, and just you're starting to see so many great things. So I want to say props, say thank you for your efforts, hard work. I also want to reference that the push week is important. And does anyone know why people sell more during the push week from a completely objective standpoint? Like during a push, we sell more as a company. We have 8 push weeks during the year. Those are the 8 biggest weeks of the year. And SC2 is the biggest, single-handedly the biggest push. And we sell blank percentage of our annual revenue in those 18 days. Why? Any guess? There's more urgency. Sure,
there's
that's
a-
part of it. Go ahead.
Probably more of a collaboration, like group.
Okay, so there's more team and energy
Yeah,
towards
yeah,
a goal.
yeah.
That's part of it.
What I always hear is reps do what they're supposed to.
Okay, everyone does the job the way they're supposed to for 18 days versus whatever the hell they were doing. No, I'm serious. I mean that like I'm like, I love you. I'm very humorous from time to time. A lot of jokes. For 18 days, you guys all did the job on a daily basis the way you're supposed to do the job, from following scripts to being in the office to get support. Now, the job, in my opinion, not my opinion, the job is not an 18-day, every day, all day, 365 days a year work that type of effort. You can, and ultimately you work that kind of a push for 365 days, you'll make a lot of money. And some people may choose to do that. But what we're trying to show is that in 18 days, if you do the job the right way, you train yourself to sell Cutco and follow the systems, it's just like the gym. The first day's not going to get you fit, and certainly the first week's not going to get you fit. But I promise you, if you eat right, if you do the exercise, you don't miss a workout, and you only cheat once in a while, because it's okay to live a little or a lot. I promise you, in 30 days, you'll feel and see a difference, and that's science, isn't it? Like, meaning that's not how you feel. That's the science of the physiology. The physiology of the body is that if you eat this, you burn this many calories, you'll feel and look like this, and it's not even in your control. It's just it's all in your control rather. So that's the thing I want to point out from those of you. Most of you were in some way, shape, or form either part of the alliance, part-time alliance. But the key is not to just say, oh, that was a great push and I can experience that. It's to take those lessons of how the job's done and put it to now. It doesn't mean you have to work a full push schedule now. In fact, if you do, that's awesome. But the days you are going to work the way you were working during the push on those days. And when you're off, be off the way you're supposed to be off. I think it's really important, because someone made the comment, they always want us to do appointments. That's not true at all. We always want you to do the right type of appointments the right way when you're supposed to. That's the difference. When I was a representative, believe it or not, I sold $76,000 in one summer. I did 5 demos of all the Sundays. And Sunday's a huge day to sell. Of all the Sundays in the summer, I did 5 demos total. 5 to 10. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Between 5 and 10 appointments combined over every Sunday over 3 months of selling. Because when I wasn't working Sunday, I was really working. When I wasn't working certain days, I wasn't working. But when I was, I followed what I learned from all the push-ups. Cool? So hopefully that's a light bulb moment for you. Speaking of which, I want to wish all of you luck as we enter our interview today. And this is a little bit or a lot different than probably what you're used to. We're used to seeing each other at division meeting, at SC1, at SC2. I'm on stage, yelling for the push week, and it's a lot of fun. But this is where I get to do my job as a division manager. This is my favorite part. How many of you were at an SLDM? Anyone at an SLDM? So I spoke about the future. And do you remember the analogy I used with the University of Notre Dame football versus the Miami football team? And there's the great coach. You remember what was happening with Lou Holtz was on the phone in the middle of the championship game, not focused on the game, and thinking about the next year's recruits. Like he was talking to a recruit for the next year. So this is my version of, hey, when's the busiest time for Cutco? The summer. You just experienced SC2, and now we're getting into post-conference pop. Contests are awesome, by the way. Post-conference pop, PRs, SC3. But for me, this is me, right now, this event is me being on the phone while it's the game. Because I need to think about not this summer and how we're finishing. That's the manager's job. What's my job? To think about when. Yeah, I got to think about next summer. Who's running the office in Boca next year? Who's going to be my pilot sales manager next year? Who's going to be a new branch manager running branch abroad programs in Virginia and Carolina and Florida and Puerto Rico next year? So I'm excited. For what it's worth, this is my first interview. And there's no good or bad about being first or last. What I will tell you is that the advantages of being first, that I'm really excited from the conference, but I'll be just as excited on the last one too. So there's no advantage. I'm just going to say also congrats on being here. You have to be at least $3,000 in sales for me to even meet with you today. So that's an accomplishment. And no matter how minuscule it might seem, you have to put into perspective that starting from no sales experience for most of you, you've earned $400 at least minimum in income, and you've hit 2 promotions, having very little to no experience for some of you. So I think as much as maybe you didn't sell 10K and you might want to be higher in sales and all the sales you're not getting, I think it's worth recognizing that you have come a long way, even from the first day of training where you didn't know anything. Or the first phone call you made on Friday, usually Friday night of your first training seminar. That's scary. Remember how scary the first phone call was? the phone had teeth, didn't it? It was scary to call, but now making calls is no problem. Or remember the first time you called someone before 9 a.m. Remember that? And the fear that, oh, what would happen if you called someone before 9? When we all know that when you call someone before 9, a Mac customer, they usually don't get a lot of calls before 9. So what do they know about that call? It's an important call. So what do they probably do? Answer. So what do we do when we talk to them? Set up an appointment. You guys know that. So anyway, just want to give props. Congrats on being here. Just to clarify the process, there are going to be 2 parts to the interview. This is the group where I'm going to cover against a general overview of AGL School, what it's like to be in a management training program, all the skills you can gain from it. And then I'm going to meet with each of you one-on-one if you're over $8,000 in sales. I do want to say this. If you don't meet with me one-on-one, it doesn't eliminate your chances of being AGL School. If you're here, you've got a shot. If you're not at this group interview, you have no shot. Okay? So you being here, I want to get David Vega is one of my favorite examples. David was at like $4,000 or $5,000 at this group interview. Did not get one-on-one with me, but got into AGL School, was an assistant manager that non-summer, became a branch manager, and he's the one I talked about on stage that just got into medical school, or is applying to medical school, of course, using his branch experience in his resume. Okay? And he did not get a one-on-one interview at this time. So fear not. I also, in a way, in a weird way, I like the people who don't get a one-on-one because it causes you to fight for it. Because if you really want it, you'll find a way to finish and get to between 8, 10 plus by the end of some minimum on the low. Okay. So after this group interview, which will take a couple of minutes here, I'll get a chance to meet with you one-on-one. Okay. And the objectives of my interview today are pretty simple. I want to get to know our best people. And by being here, it gives me a chance to see who the future might be. It gives me a chance to put people in different spots in my head. But at the end of the day, this interview is not about picking assistant managers and branch managers and people that are going to be in different spots. This interview is about who could join our AGL training program. Okay, this interview is about who would we want participating, who would we want to put our effort into, who do we want to give this great experience to, whose resumes do we want to build, whose time do we want to give to during AGL. As far as what people will be doing next summer, that happens during AGL, and that's the least of my concern. Okay, and I can't stress enough that the AGL school is what FC is all about. This is you've seen this many times, hopefully, the anchors of the FC. But part of the things that make our organization are the things that are fundamental to our family, to our team here. Meaning, you know, every team, every school, every family is known by certain things, right? So you take the military, all branches of, I think military, right? So someone in Boca was looking for military, one of you. So there are different branches of the military, and they're all known for certain things. There are different types of sports teams that are all known for certain things. I'm a big NFL fan, and the Ravens are starting to play soon, and some of you don't even care about football, but I love football. And the Ravens are known for a certain type of football play, okay? Our team is known for this. So meaning, one of the things you can expect from being part of our organization, whether you're selling Cutco or your AGL school, number one is true professionalism. I love our young representatives dressing up to be professional, acting professional, being on time makes a difference. It matters here versus other places. I can't tell you how sick I am of seeing on the internet all these commentary about minimum wage and all. At the end of the day, you got to work. And that's my opinion. I apologize if I don't apologize. I know people have different opinions. At the end of the day, you got to work, right? And raising minimum wage is not my interest. I have no interest in minimum or mediocre. So that's what we have, true professionalism. I'm just proud to say that our representatives at a young age, or young at heart, or excited, they want to be professional. They want to be professionals. They want to be professionals, and that's something that's great because most people your age, and don't assume people our age, by the way. Don't assume that this is something that's on the priority list. So I love that. You can also expect from our family explosive team building because we love to personally recruit and we love to build our teams from within. And how sick is that contest? Awesome. Right?
Awesome.
I was just announcing it to Puerto Rico last night and this morning. I mean, they were flipping chairs practically. I think one of them was flipping chairs. Because for 3 purse recruits in 5 weeks, you're going to get a choice of a GoPro, a television, or an iPhone. I think that's awesome. And we're giving away one more trip to Cancun, so you guys know about that. So explosive team building also goes beyond just free stuff. The explosive team building part of our family and our team is that we believe in the opportunity so much, we want other people to be a part of it. And in order to build a great team, we always build the team not from recruiting outside, but from within. What does that mean? So our best people are going to come from who? Our best people. Okay, just like sports, just like any school. Number 3 is high standards of sales performance. in another way of saying that is when it's time to push, it's time to push. Not every week is a push week. Did you ever notice this whole summer there's like a push week and then some time and then another push week and some time? That's on purpose. Why? Anyone know from a business standpoint why it's always a push every 4 weeks?
You have to put it into practice what you're learning.
Okay, part of it is practice what you preach and put it into work. Good. What else? Or why else?
You get to rejuvenate, kind of.
Yeah, it's like push hard. Okay, recharge, take a break, get ready, recharge. Same thing. Okay, because you can only go full force for so long before you burn out.
Limiting belief.
Say it again.
Limiting belief.
Limiting belief. That's right. Right. And then aggressive pursuit of growth. This is my favorite. This is where AGL comes into play. It's anchor number 4, which is one of the great things that we love about our company and specific to FC is that it's not just about the knives and the income, although the knives and the income are important. It's about the future experience. It's about your resume. It's about how you feel now or how you feel later. It's who you are now, but the next summer. I just said in passing to Mr. Blake here, oh, the difference a year makes. We have awesome stories about a year ago, or a little over a year ago when I first met him, and then he got into an interview, and here he is now an assistant manager. And it's been a long process, but it's so great to see when people grow. And then one thing I will share with you as my advice, or just maybe not advice, but as a thought, is that if you're in a position or in a school or on a team or in a job, or in this case, an opportunity for the next couple summers, depending on your light bulb, if you're not growing, you shouldn't be there. So that's one of the things I love about why we do what we do. And what we do is we want to provide the experience that we know as our M3PG experience. That's something that's known, that's our trademark. It's on our logos, it's on the Dirty 30 hats that just got printed out. And we're known for that. And I love that because M3PG stands for, of course, the most powerful, but I want to make this very clear, professional and personal growth experience. First is what? Professional. See, what we're trying to do is create better, more powerful professionals, young professionals. Because when you're really professional in a professional environment, in a business environment, what also happens? Yeah, you personally grow, and the two coincide. You know how sometimes people say you leave work at work? You can't really leave work at work here. You know why? Because our work is so personal. Our relationships, our conversations, our support, the Andrew Evans of the world, and the one-on-ones he gives you as a fellow 20, 21-year-old. It's a lot more personal. The attention that Tori in North Miami will give you, right? When he could be home, maybe with his child and his wife, but during a push week, he gives a little more, but it's more personal. And Erica, of course, is in that mix. So most powerful professional and personal growth experience. So I hope, I haven't even gone into the interview details. I just hope that in some way, shape, or form, we've provided a couple of these this summer. And maybe the light bulb that I'm looking for is you could see yourself doing this for a couple of summers, or in some cases, we talk about potential career. We don't know. But the cool thing is you have options here. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. This is a cool slide I always show from meeting to meeting about our standards and about where we really see ourselves. So we're not claiming to be better. And technically, if you look from a push week standpoint, we're only better than 2 other divisions and less than and not as good as 3 because we were number 4. But see, I'm not talking about CPO and business and money. Although it's important, I'm talking about just the standards. I don't claim for us to be better than any of the other 5 colleagues that I work with. In fact, you might have seen on stage that although we're competing and it seems like we're ready to tear each other's heads off, those 5 guys are my brothers. And we're excited about our teams, and together we work in the Eastern region. But we take a lot of pride in the standards that we have. And I don't mean that just for our division, I mean that for the entire region. So this meeting is about 2016 and beyond. This meeting is about the future. This meeting is about where you could be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now. I don't claim that most of you will be with us 5 years from now, I don't. But I do claim to have an experience for you that's unlike any other for the next 1 to 3. And if you choose it to be beyond 1 to 3, that's exciting too, okay? Why AGL School? As you know, AGL stands for Aggressive Growth and Leadership. G is the most important part, the growth. But the A is my favorite, the aggressive growth. You can take 15 years to study and learn and go to school. Or you can aggressively pursue and get faster growth. Limiting belief, Gavin said, right? Limiting belief, you have to go through years of school in order to get education and get more confidence. That's a limiting belief. And we all know that's not true. What is true? You can learn and get growth to the degree and pace that you choose. That's why we have AGL School. AGL School, by the way, is our fancy term. It's just our way of saying leadership management training for Cutco. That's what it is. But it's the FC's version. The great North Florida division, the championship North Florida division that took #1 for like, I don't know, the millionth time. Their program's called LEAD, L-E-A-D. Ours is AGL. It's just kind of different. Altogether though, what we're trying to do is create leadership opportunities aggressively. Why do we have AGL School? Because as the largest college student recruiting company in North America, right, with respect to our non-students, our job is to facilitate growth for young people, right? Because we work with the most amount of college students in North America, we're dealing with a lot of this, with debt, right? With students who have no experience. You might have seen this from SC1, where college graduates have a much harder time finding jobs after college because they don't have what under the resume? Experience, or the confidence behind the experience. It's one thing to have experience, okay, this is what I did. The other experience is what you're able to apply. And that's what we're trying to provide. We have AGL School because only 2 in 5 are the odds of someone getting a job out of college specific to their major. By show of hands, any of you familiar or know someone personally that works in a job that has nothing to do with their major and it's not by choice? Yeah, that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. Excuse me. That's our goal, to avoid that. Our goal is to avoid being this, taking an average of 8 months to find a job out of college. I think, Aaron, we're talking about being a senior at the U, right? So senior University of Miami. My goal, if Aaron does it right, is for him not to have an average of 8 months for waiting. My goal is the opposite. Our AGL alumni have jobs 8 months before they graduate, and they get to what? Choose. That's what you want, is to choose. So anyway, you can tell Madam about that. And of course, financially, we want to eliminate debt. $20,000 is the average college student debt when they graduate. And that, I would say that's being nice. I would say that's being really nice. Another reason for AGL School is that the Wall Street Journal, another example rather, is that the Wall Street Journal a few years ago profiled our job as being one of the greatest jobs for a young person while they're in college to develop entrepreneur skills. Andrew did an awesome job at SC2 asking people different majors, right? And then he said, did anyone here realize when they were younger say to themselves, I want to work for the man? I want to work for someone. Some people did, but most people say what? No, I'd like to work for who? For myself and be in business by myself. And that's what's great about our AGL program. This is an example of Dr. Mike Williams. He's the Associate Dean and Marketing Professor at Oklahoma City University. And in this specific article with the Wall Street Journal, he talks about Cutco professional skills. He talks about shortening the learning process, right? Aggressive growth and learning how to run their own business. He also talks about the difference between a 19-year-old and let's say a Vector Cutco 19-year-old, where they have eye contact. They're outstanding in their social skills. It's called soft skills. You guys are familiar with the term soft skills? And those are some of the things that we take a lot of pride. Why else do I have AGL School? Because one of the, if you talk to anyone in FC, they'll tell you, okay, what are some words, when you think about working for Cutco and FC, what are some words that pop to mind? Number 1 is light bulb. Number 2 is, it's a 2-word, dale fuego. Okay, number 3, a lot of fun and culture and tempo. Number 4, some people would argue if you get to know the staff, they like fashion and just fun. A lot of things that are just fun and unique to our division. I would say this also makes the list. COI, we call it, Circles of Influence. And if you're not familiar, Circle of Influence is a very important part of why we have AGL School. Mr. Matt King from North Florida did an outstanding job wrapping up our conference. Inspirational. That video, by the way, just rips your heart out about Kip selling Cutco, the guy in the wheelchair. I mean, awesome. But what Matt said in passing that I think is the most important of all his points is you got to choose this wisely. Because they say that you're the average of the 5 to 7 people that you associate with the most. That was Mr. Jim Rohn, great business mind of our times. So if you're the average of the 5 to 7 people you hang out with the most, think about the 5 to 7 people you're hanging out with the most. And do you want to be an average of that? Sometimes. Or sometimes you're very proud of it. Okay? Here's my advice to you, and this is why AGL School is so important. There are 3 types of circles of influence. There's above, equal, and below. They're the people that you choose that you're going to learn from. Meaning, who are your mentors? Who are you going to give your attention and learn from and pay attention to? And also, whose advice will you follow? Then there's learn with. Who are the 2 to 3 people that you will choose to be your buddy, your accountability buddy? People who are doing the same thing. But see, this is really easy to fall off of because you can pick people who are your, let's say Katie and I are selling Cutco together. Let's say I'm really lazy and Katie wants to hang out with me. She's going to become lazy too. See, I don't follow the approach, but I get a lot of appointments. Well, and Katie's going to probably follow that too or be susceptible to that. Choose these wisely. And then this one, they always say the more you teach, the better you are. Most people before AGL School don't even have one like this. Most of it is this, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of good options for this. So that's why we have AGL School. We believe that in AGL School, you have outstanding leadership from above. We only put you with people like you who want to succeed and accelerate their growth, and we'll teach you how to teach. Okay. Another reason for AGL School, this is my favorite slide from this past summer. The previous 6 slides are probably from the last 3 to 5 years of running AGL School. This was the most recent one about one of our ex-Cutco alumni who's now CMO of Sweet Labs Corporation. I believe it's a company that just went public. And we have one of our entrepreneurs talking about how he sold knives, the CEO of Uber, Travis, I believe it's called Kalanick. Kalanick is his name. I just saw an article on this guy, the guy who started Uber. His net worth is $3.6 billion, or at least his company's net worth, something crazy like that. So that's why we have AGL School. One more thing we have AGL School for are the skills that you really are going to be important for you. This is my favorite article from Business Insider. It says 10 skills that are hard to learn but pay off forever. When you see these: time management, empathy, positive self-talk, and consistency, I would say those are tied in directly to Cutco. I'm not going to always come back to these slides if you need, but asking for help, listening, mastering your thoughts. Limiting beliefs or getting rid of those, that's mastering your thoughts. So hopefully we've been able to give you a chance to learn, and that's our objective at AGL School. So let me talk to you about the different positions available. This will be the next portion. This is more the informational part of our interview before we wrap up. So there's field sales manager, assistant manager, branch manager, and district manager. So I encourage you to take notes on this. The first one is field sales manager. Okay? And next to field sales manager, just write down $3 because this ultimately, if you're looking for the most lucrative and finances are your focus, this is one of the most tremendous options that we have. And that's selling Cutco at the highest commission. What's the highest commission?
Yeah.
Half, right? It's 50%. That's $150,000 in career sales. The best way and fastest way to get there, of course, is to sell one summer and then do what the next summer? Yeah, branch, so you can add to your sales. Some people who don't branch take a little bit long, or a lot longer rather, to get to FSM. So if your interest is in making money and that's the number one thing, that's the main priority and only priority, then this is an awesome opportunity. I think Andy Janji represents one amazing opportunity in selling Cutco for yourself, but not by yourself, okay? Also here, assistant manager. Assistant manager, I would call this, you can write down, this is support. This is a support position. You can also write down learning. This is a support and learning position. This is where a student in AGL School will work directly under a district full-time manager, in this case, Karina, Tori, or this office, or depending on where they go to school. And the thing I'll say about that position is that those are specifically and more geared towards fall and spring opportunities. Because people who are assistants in the fall and spring are usually training to be our best what for the next summer, the next branch managers. Now, you might notice we do have assistant managers who are assistants during the summer. So where do they come from? Well, because we have such a competitive field, our assistant managers from the summer are usually people who started either later in the process that didn't get enough training to become a branch, or they didn't quite earn the branch position, or we found that it was in their best interest to make them an assistant. All three apply, okay? So in other words, assistant managers, no one gets into AGL School and trains to be an assistant for the summer. They might train to be an assistant for the fall or spring, but the assistants who are like Luke in the back, Mr. Anthony over here, these are assistants by our choice based on the process, okay? And of course, our branch manager position, I'll talk about that, but you can write down 4 months, extreme experience. 4 months, extreme experience. And the last thing I'll say to that is take the leap, LEAP. That's our acronym. Take the leap, LEAP. And remember, by the way, what take the leap stands for? LEAP. When someone goes branch, they take the leap next summer to run a branch office or earn a branch office. Yeah, what's the L stand for in leap? Think about it. So branch manager is the ultimate form of what? Leadership. Yeah, leadership.
Experience.
Experience.
Okay. A would be.
If you move to a different country, what's that? That's an adventure.
Program.
And then programs are personal growth.
Personal growth.
Okay. So leadership experience. Leadership experience. Adventure and personal growth. It's a 4-month entrepreneurship experience. For making money, the best thing we have for college students is making half baby. For making money, but the primary focus is experience and the leap, it's branching. Okay, I branched in 1999, and I can tell you I was never the same after branching. My personal skills went up, my ability to manage groups and teams myself, finances. It created a career opportunity, not just for Cutco, but it leveraged me for my resumes. And if you remember, I went 15 for 15 on my different job interviews at a college. And every one of those 15 interviews referenced the branch manager position. So we take a lot of pride in it. This is my product. I don't sell Cutco anymore, as you know. I couldn't even tell you the last time I did a Cutco presentation. The only time I ever sell is if someone calls me and I just take the order. It's the only time. But what I can tell you is that as a branch manager, those are some of the best moments of my career. And it was one of the hardest things I ever did, but one of the most rewarding things that I ever did as a branch manager. And that's why I'm here today. My manager said, you know, I know you don't think you can run a branch, but you should get into the training program and you'll see. And I did, and I ended up running a branch office. It was the best thing I could have done for my career. And then district manager, you can write this down. District manager is either number one, career. District manager is either career, number two, first job out of college. So it's either a career for some people, a first job out of college, or three, a stepping stone. Okay, let me give you an example. Some people, they just know gung-ho, they want to be with Cutco, and they really believe in the fundamental principles and where the company's going, and they see themselves creating a life with us. So those are people that want to take it. That would be like Tori in North Miami. He's left corporate America to come back because he believes in this as a career. Second thing I put down is what for district? Those would be people who are using us as first job out of college. Because sometimes it's good not to make a decision long term when you can just find a really positive short term decision. That's what we have here. We have the opportunity for someone to experience district manager professional pay, training, and the experience of running an office for 3 to 5 years. And then they use that as leverage for another career. I mean, you might know that many CEOs were CEOs at other companies first. And many other great business people were business people at other companies first. And then the third one, of course, is what? Stepping stone. Some people know they're not going to be with Cutco, but they know before they do leave us, they want to get more entrepreneurial skills. And rather than just one summer of running a branch, they want a couple of years of experience. It's very similar to going to an MBA program where people will work for 2 to 3 years and then go get their master's or move on to another position. It's the same thing. Okay. One of the things I'll tell you is that if someone is not in school, school is not for them, or they have graduated, being a district manager is also an opportunity for someone, even if it's something they just started, meaning if they just started this summer, they have an opportunity with our accelerated training program to be a district manager 1 year later instead of a branch. That would be David Delgado from our pilot. David started last summer, sold 10K for his fast start, sold over $20,000 for the summer, SC2 push $10,000, got into AGL school, and 1 year later, instead of running a branch office, he's not a student, he's ex-military, had no interest in pursuing his nursing career, so he decided to go career, and now he runs all of Bayamon, Puerto Rico for a company 1 year later. Okay, so just some options. So the question I always get is, what does a branch manager do? Okay. Well, at the end of the day, a branch manager does whatever it takes to create sales in the territory. Okay. So what makes the experience so unique? A branch manager does the following. You can write these 3 things down. Okay. Recruit, train, and develop. Recruit, train, and develop. A sales force within a territory. Recruit, train, and develop a sales force within a territory. They build a business from scratch. What's great is that the company doesn't, lets the student run their own office, not for themselves, but not by themselves, rather. So there is company support to fund that, which I'll reference later. A branch manager opens up their office in April, May. Okay. In May and June, they're focused on recruiting and developing an office from scratch, a business from scratch, a sales team from scratch. They do all the hiring of the receptionists. They do all the interviews. They do all the Cutco training. They do all the PDI. They all do all the logistics of setting up a business. That's April, May, and June. July, and August, it's more focused on selling with their team and personal sales. So to give you an example, I'll use Gavin's manager, Erica. Erica, from April till about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, was really just working to build an office. Training, interviews, receptionist team meetings, PDI. So as of this month, July and August, she's now personally selling with her team to A, make profit, a lot more profit, because it's flat 50, But B, she's also teaching by example by showing her reps how to sell more. Okay, so it's the best of both worlds. And then in August they shut down, we close up the office, and they go back to school typically as a branch manager. For a district manager, it's different, where instead of opening up as a branch manager, they would open up as a district, which includes also the benefits of the higher pay, the bonus structure, and all the career accolades that they get from that. Okay, so a branch manager, essentially, in one sentence, it's running a Cutco organization built from scratch for experience within a summer. Okay, you don't have to write that down. It's just running a 4-month Cutco operation from scratch for experience within a summer. First, district manager. Someone once said, is it like branch but year-round? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it's the same building of a business, but no in the sense that it's more long-term. It's more of a career. A district manager would be in charge of all operations for Cutco to a specific territory or county. Again, a district manager is more for career, long-term, and I would say bare minimum 3 to 5 year commitment as a stepping stone. So for those of you that do get an interview one-on-one, or even if you get a one-on-one interview later, keep in mind that district manager opportunities are also available. So what does AGL do? AGL is separated really into 2 types of lessons. There are Cutco lessons and life lessons. Okay. So if someone's accepted into our AGL program, the first session starts actually at SC3 on the 20th of this month, or next month, about August. And once a month, we'll have our AGL training session for the entire division. And I'll explain that in the next slide. But there are 2 types of things we teach. We teach recruiting, we teach training, we teach group dynamics, things that apply to a Cutco business. We teach PDI, we teach how to run the interview. We teach how to run a 3-day training seminar, an advanced training. We teach how to run phone jams, all things that you're familiar with. But look, there's a system behind everything. We teach how to run personal consultations. We teach people how to put together a 10K alliance. We teach people how to handle adversity with their team, and so forth and so forth. And then there are also the life lessons, things like financial management. We teach investing. We teach checkbook and cash flow management. We teach things from professional dress to the art of public speaking, which we actually start teaching that at SC3, to the art of rapport, to buying homes and how to purchase a home. Things that I know that when I was in college, I went through 4 years of great college at the University of Maryland, the greatest 4 years of my life. And I never learned how to balance a checkbook in college, but I learned it through Cutco. I didn't learn how to invest my money and get a percentage return and invest for my retirement account, but I learned it in branch training. I wouldn't have known how to buy a house in college, but I learned from my division manager how to put down a down payment and get the best interest rates. And man, I got a really good interest rate. So like things like that, those are the life lessons. So one of the terms that sometimes is associated with our AGL program is skills for life. These are skills that may not apply just to the Cutco business, but period. I find the top 2 lessons that people love from a Cutco standpoint is learning how to run a Cutco interview, like how to interview people, and how to run the Cutco training seminar. And then from a life lesson standpoint, the favorite AGL lessons usually are financially related because most people don't get taught about money. So finances and just how to work with people, I would say. So here's the process. The process is pretty simple. I'll be conducting interviews throughout Florida this week, and then next week I'll be in Puerto Rico to do the same thing. If you are accepted, if anyone is accepted into AGL school, they would have to be at a minimum of $8,000 to get accepted into the program. Anything less, we just can't even accept. If someone misses the 8K deadline by the time we get to SC3, and that's the deadline, SC3, they could apply for late admission, which means they'd have to get to 8K and then apply again for September. And if they don't get in for September, they have to wait till the following year. Okay? Because if someone can't sell 8K between now to the end of September, it's tough to justify putting them into the position. Okay. The process is such that if you're accepted, the acceptances happen at SC3. So it's a big ceremony where we give everyone the acceptance, their certificate of acceptance to the training. And then we have our first AGL Cutco and life lesson at SC3. By the way, this is my shameless plug for how awesome SC3 is going to be. I'm going to be giving my patented public speaking message. We have a time management message. We have a how to sell during school around other careers, another personal, family even message, virtual demo training. It's going to be an awesome event. But back to AGL. The first session happens at AGL. And I'll write this on the board. There are 2 parts to the training. 3 parts rather. There's monthly, weekly, and self-training. So the 3 parts to AGL school training. In other words, how do we get someone within 8 months to learn how to run a Cutco office? To be able to run their business from scratch, to learn all these life skills? Well, there are 3 parts. The monthly is done on weekends. Typically it's on a Saturday, so it doesn't interfere with any school agendas or during the week agendas. And it's once a month here back at the Fort Lauderdale office. If someone is away for school, meaning out of area, we would make arrangements either them to virtually be involved or just to participate in the closest office. It's also not uncommon for some of our out of area students to come back and fly back or drive back for the weekend because they'll see mom and dad, they'll do laundry on Friday, they'll come to AGL prep, see their friends and family, do a couple of appointments and then go back to school. That's sometimes what they'll do. So that's monthly. And this is where I'm able to give the life lessons and the Cutco lessons from the previous slide. Okay, this is where I'm able to cover how to run interviews and how to balance checkbooks and so forth. So it's typically between 6 to 8 hours on a Saturday, once a month. Now it is on a Saturday, so again, it is flexible around school, but it is a Saturday, so there is some sacrifice required, meaning people have to miss one Saturday a month, whether it's a football game with their favorite team or some social event. We do ask for that sacrifice, and we believe the sacrifice is not worth it, but more than worth it. We believe the lessons they learn and gain on Saturdays once a month are awesome. What I do at the end of each event is I give an assignment to work on from that month to the next month. So at SC3, everyone who's accepted, we'll work on our first lesson, they'll get an assignment, and then they'll have to be able to perform and get graded and evaluated at the September one. And then afterwards, they get graded and evaluated at the October one and so forth and so forth. Here's my other shameless plug. The November one is in Olean, which is awesome. So we actually go to the company plant in Olean. We go to Niagara Falls. I take everyone in AGL. We go to the falls. There's a tradition I'll tell you about later that we do at the fall. It's really awesome. But the November one is done in Olean, New York. Okay, so that's monthly. Weekly. Weekly is the equivalent of taking a 2-credit part-time course. That's the easiest way to put it. The weekly portion is the equivalent of taking an extra 2 credits a semester, which equals about 4 to 6 hours of work a week of self-study or in-office observation. And what I mean by that is that on a weekly basis, we have a meeting at the local office. So just if I were to do specific situations, remind me of everyone's school situation. So if you're on the West Coast, that would be virtually into this office. Okay, you're local. Okay, so that'll be virtually. Where do you go to school?
Hey,
which one?
I'll be in Green.
You're Kendall. Okay,
Yeah.
so once a week would be in Carinas, be in my office because you're closest here. You go to school.
I'm gonna go today.
Okay, so you'd be in Tori's office once a week, Miami. Probably Tori's office or Karina's office.
I'm going to Florida State.
Okay, so then you would go to the office there, who by the way is my PSM alumni. I'm very good friends with Carlos,
Cool.
Mr. BMW. Okay, so that's his new nickname. So once a week we have a meeting at that specific office, the ones I just listed, where we would review all the monthly lessons and practice together. And then the self-study is, again, between 4 and 6 hours a week. That would be either coming to the office to observe. For those of you that are virtual, you would set something up where either you would come physically to observe or virtually. The great thing about technology is it doesn't matter where anyone is, we can train anyone for AGL school. Some of my best people have never been in an office other than when they come here once a month. Okay. So again, monthly is once a month throughout the fall and spring. Weekly is a specific once a week meeting. Usually it's either Monday nights, Wednesday nights, or it's Friday mornings, depending on the office. They'll work it out with the people in AGL school. That's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then self-studies between 4 and 6 hours. Okay. So those are the types of commitments time-wise that we're looking for. If someone can't make those time commitments, it's hard for us to train them, but we really believe in what happens when someone goes through that process. Okay. Any question? I'm gonna stop there. Any questions on the process? So if you're accepted, this is the way that we train people. Any specific questions? There doesn't have to be. I just want to give you a chance to ask. Okay. This is also my plug for fall selling. You've worked so hard to get your commissions up. Utilize it during the school year. How many of you are students? There's like 4 or 5 of you. Okay. The whole goal of working to get to higher commissions is so that you can work part-time but earn what? Full-time. Or what's the other thing? You can work full-time and earn big time. You can do that too. So that's why during the school year, here's my recommendation. Okay. 5, 8, 12 plus. 5, 8, 12 plus. Okay? 8 a week. That's doing the job. Okay? You could even say 6 to 8 a week. 6 to 8 a week, you do the job. Let's just say you do 8 appointments a week. How many should you have? This is just normal. If you do 8 appointments, what percentage should you sell on? What's the closing ratio? 60%. So that's about 5 sales. What's the average order? $250. So what's that? You're selling over $1,000 every week. If you're at 30%, that's a $300 up to $500 paycheck weekly for doing 8 hours worth of work. Oh, add in the phone time, you're talking 12 to 15 hours of work to make 300 plus. I think that's why so many of our students love working with us during the school year. Because how many of you, how many appointments or how many days rather do you think 8 appointments is going to take? Now that you've done a whole push week, you can do it in 2. You can do it in the weekend. We have some students that do like 2 or 3 during the week in the evenings after class, and then the rest on weekends. I have some reps that do their 8 appointments during the week and only not like 1 on the weekends. I have some that never work Sundays but work big Saturdays. It's up to you. I would say 5. This is during exam week. Our reps still do 5 appointments. They can do that in how many days? Yeah, like an afternoon. They can do it virtually from their dorm room if they want. Right? Same thing. Income, $250, making $750. At 30/30, you're making $200 plus a week. That's during exam week when you can only work half a day. I think $200 for half a day's worth of work around classes is pretty awesome. And I know that the 2 of you aren't necessarily students, but you can certainly appreciate the ability to make flexible income, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And then, of course, 12. If you're going for 12, you're looking at probably 9 sales, $250. You're looking at about $2,000 in sales. That's a $600 to $1,000 a week income opportunity. These are the ones who compete for a scholarship during the school year. These are the ones who make between $5,000 and $10,000 working part-time. And these are the students during the exam weeks that can make a couple $100 for spending cash. So this is my plug to make sure that you guys are transitioning. And I want to end the interview with a couple of thoughts. There's a value in having options. Okay. Here's what I'll say. If you're accepted into AGL school, so I'm only meeting with I think 3 of you for one-on-ones. The rest of you need to still get to 8K, and you can still earn a spot. If you get in, just keep in mind the whole point of getting in doesn't determine what position you play next summer. Okay. Think of AGL school as 4 months of undergraduate. Okay. How many of you know people? You guys know. You know the percentages we always talk about, right? If you've seen this before, raise your hand. 10, 8, 10, okay. So you know there's 10% of people that go into college and say, I'm a pre-med major, and they're a pre-med major, and they finish with a pre-med degree, and they're a doctor. You know that's only 10%. You know that's a very small amount. Then what's the opposite? People go into college and they say, what, I have what?
No idea.
I have no idea. And they have no idea for 4 years, and they still have no idea at the end. Maybe you know people like that. It's not a bad thing. It's just, okay. What's the majority of the situations? Change. Or what else? Give an example. You're right, Aaron. Did you do it?
No, I didn't know what I wasn't doing. I went, but
Yeah, so didn't know
when I
and then
got
found
it, I
something.
was-
Okay. When did you find out? What year? First, second, or third?
Second.
Second year. Okay. For us, second year, sophomore year is usually when people start to figure out their majors. For us, that's October, November. Our second year of college is equivalent to Olean. And people say, you know, I'm really gung-ho. I have people that will go in gung-ho for branch. They earn it. They train. They beat everyone out. They get a branch to one of the 25 people next summer. I have some people, they have no idea. And even when we get to November, they have no idea. So then during the winter break, we figure out a plan, and they usually know by February. And we know. Because it's a matter of them earning it and a matter of us helping them see what's best for them. But most people just get into the training program, work hard, train, go, and everyone gets ranked throughout the training program. And when we get to November and December, we can find out, are they on pace for branch? And if they want to go for it, they go for it. Are they not on pace for branch? So there's not even a shot. So maybe they start to work towards an assistant position. But at the end of the day, it's all about having options. I think if I were doing AGL again, I would take a different approach. My approach last time, in 1998, was I'm so confused. I'm not sure what I want to do next summer. I don't know if I want to be a branch. I want to be a doctor. I'm pre-med. Like, too much thinking. It's like, hey, we just went on the first date. Relax. That's what my manager used to say. Hey, you're like talking about marriage. I just want to take you for some coffee. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's what he said, Fred Blazer, the man. He said, we just want you to go for some coffee, man. and maybe dinner if it goes well. I was like, all right. So I thought of it that way. If I were to do it over again, here's how I would think about it. I would think about, there's no way this is going to hurt me to get into this training program. I know what my resume and my personal skills are going to be like, and I'm going to make a lot of money. So let me get in, and let me let the process figure that out. So that way, it's less stressful that way. And how about this? You wouldn't still be here with Cutco if you didn't think Cutco was serving you at this point. So if we haven't proven you wrong yet, run with it. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So next step, you got to earn a spot. Okay. So one more time, 8K plus minimum for us to even consider accepting you. Okay. If you're at 8K plus already, I'm looking to see how you finish the summer. Okay. You know, ironically enough, the people who have what they think is an advantage, but actually not an advantage for AGL, are the people who had the biggest push weeks. The trophy winners, they're gonna have the hardest time. Why? Because I'm looking to see if they just rest on their laurels or if they actually finish off the summer. So there's like more pressure on them. So number one. Number two, it will be at SC3 that we make the announcements. So make sure you register for that. Okay. And then if someone doesn't make it, I'll put an X. You can do what's called late enrollment rather. Late admission, late enrollment. Okay. So let me wrap up with what I look for. A couple of things. Overall, I just look for someone who's committed to the program. Okay. If someone's valuing going out on Saturdays more, or if the fraternity or sports life is more important, I completely respect that. But we're looking for someone who can make a sacrifice once a month and 4 to 6 hours a week. And one of the things I found is someone can't make that sacrifice, they're not going to be able to handle doing what we do. That's the growth process, if you will. So I'm looking for commitment. Number two, I'm looking for my personal impression. So when I ask Andrew about you, when I ask Tori about you, when I ask Eric about you, what's the commentary? What's the personal? True story. I know that we have this funny story about how we first met and how we kicked off. Yeah. But I will tell you the impression. My personal impression of you is shaped by your manager, who had nothing but the most exciting and positive, supportive things to say about Anthony. And Karina's like, this guy is great. He's growth oriented. You got to pay attention to him. So those are the things that I look for, because we want a certain type of person in FC. I'm not concerned of you being number one and selling the most. If it's not done the right way, there's a part in our interview where we even say, if someone's head is so big that they can't walk through the door, doesn't matter how much they could sell, we wouldn't want them. And that's why, if you notice, did you notice how our team was at the conference? There's a certain feel to our team. It's because we only accept certain types of people. And I'm very proud of the type of people we have in our organization. 3, local manager evaluation. That's, of course, what your managers are saying, and combined with my personal opinion. Also, financial responsibility. One thing you can write down, and I think it's important, is that the company is going to invest into the students that get accepted. As you know, our goal is to have 25 offices. I put down drive to 25 in all my hashtags now. Because next year, our goal as an FC team is to put out and create 25 managers who have earned a branch position. Every one of those 25 will earn and get $9,000 in support from Cutco and Olean. So what do you think Olean and Cutco as a corporation wants to see from a 19, 20, 21-year-old at heart? What do you think they want to see? What do you mean by that?
Like they know how to manage.
They know how to manage money. So a couple of things we look for. We force our AGL members to balance a checkbook. It's unheard of for most people your age to know your balance account. Usually you just go to the machine and see if it works. You guys know what I'm talking about? All right, that's bad news by the way. So we look for someone who's financially responsible. We also look to see if they can save money and manage money. Otherwise, it's not really a good business to give someone $9,000 in support. So what we do is we have what's called a startup account. You can actually write this down. It's called a startup account. If you're familiar, raise your hand. You've heard of it. Okay. So a startup account really represents a couple of things. A startup account is a commitment account. It's the opportunity for a student to show with a Cutco account with the company that they're able to save money responsibly, save it, not spend it, and save it and invest it. That account is also used for personal expenses. So when it gets to the following year, we have checkpoints every single month. We have checkpoints of how much money needs to be in that account to be on pace. Now, sometimes things come up where they're below pace. Sometimes it's ahead of pace. But the more in the account, the more commitment that it shows, and also increases the ranking because it shows that they're financially responsible. This money ultimately ends up becoming money saved for personal expenses. So for our branch abroad students, the ones that move out and want to experience a different place to live or move to a different country and run a branch, this would ultimately pay for the personal expenses, which is room and board. If someone does go abroad, the company gives an extra $1,000 to move them and give them support, which is pretty cool too. So that's, I would say, plus 1,000 for abroad. Okay, so for example, Esteban Rec in my office didn't want to just branch, he wanted to branch abroad, so he branched, it's from Fort Lauderdale, he's branching in Puerto Rico right now. Okay. So with the account needs to be open no later than SC3, in addition to the 8K. And that would be $100 minimum to show interest in the program. Some students are actually coming to interviews with checks to start up their account now, and some of you have even saved in your withholdings and withheld some of your push week reports. All of those count. Okay, so in other words, some people are presenting checks during these interviews, others are waiting till SC3, but that's the deadline. By SC3, they would need to have at least $100 saved to show financial responsibility. Any questions on this one?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
With the account, is that an account that we create with Cutco just like our
Right, so,
withholding, or is that
yeah.
a separate thing?
Ready? It's just like withholdings. And in fact, what we do with withholdings is we transfer it into an account. It just says branch withholdings.
So we could do that online?
You let us know, we set it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that similar to withholding in that it's not interest bearing? It's just
It's the same
holding?
thing. It's the same
Okay.
exact thing. Except instead of saying withholdings or tax withholdings, it says branch withholdings.
Okay.
Any other questions on this? I want this to be clear. Okay, good. And then of course, the most important thing is how you finish the summer. If someone is at $10,000 in sales now, by the time we get to SC3 and decision time and they're at 11,000, it shows me in 4 weeks they didn't do more than 1,000. It's probably not someone we're going to accept for AGL school. But if someone, let's say, is under 8, 4 of you are under 8, but between now and SC3, and we see a surge, and you guys hit 8K, you hit 10,000, or you have your three most consistent weeks of the summer. It doesn't have to be number one, but what if you had your 3 most consistent weeks? Those are the types of people I love putting into AGL schools. So make sure you finish the summer strong with CPO. Part of it too is getting on my radar. If you don't have my cell phone number, I'm going to give it to you at the end of the meeting. Make sure you're texting me, because now more than ever, I'm paying attention more to the text messages, because I've got, I don't know, 70 spots to fill for AGL school, and I want to know who's on my radar. Okay. So last few assignments, I would say. Let me just give you, if you don't have it, my phone number. My assignments are make sure you're texting me often. And I'll know if you're not texting me, what does that mean? You're usually not what? You're not doing appointments, you're not selling. So I'll know. Okay. Second assignment is make sure if you're interested in getting accepted that you open up your savings account with us, minimum 100. Now we do have reps that are putting up way more money to make a statement. During the tour, I'll get checks for 500, 1,000. Really that's up to you. You can talk to your manager. If you don't have a check to present here today, then I would talk to your manager today and find out, okay, what's appropriate and how much money should I try and save for that, depending on your financial situation. If you're just over $3,000 in sales, I don't think giving $500 to $1,000 is a very responsible financial move for you. But I do think starting something is important, okay? And then last assignment is make sure you're at the SC3 event. If you have something you need to work around, talk to your manager. I just got 2 of my students today who said they couldn't be at SC3 are now going to be at SC3. We made a couple of calls. One, we got out of orientation, because all you have to do is ask, right? We're all salespeople. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not allowed to move orientation. Says who? We just moved orientation by asking. I completely understand that you don't want to move orientation. You know that whole thing.
Objections.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. That's kind of 30th and 31st.
20th and 21st.
The 20th.
It's a Thursday, Friday. Okay.
Also, I actually have a question about
Yes.
SC3. It's in Boca, right?
It is.
Okay, so if you're local to Boca, do you still have to have a ride there and stay in the hotel?
Well, yeah, because it's part of the registration for everything. But you can talk to
Okay, because I'm getting my wisdom teeth taken out the day before.
talk to Andrew. We'll work something out.
Okay.
Talk to Andrew and talk to me. Let's go back and forth. We'll get you there. Cool. Any additional questions before I meet with one-on-ones? Okay. So who's under 6,000? Who's under 8,000? Okay. So for the 4 of you, if you have a resume, I'll take it. And here's what I'll say to the 4 of you. When I hit the music, you guys are good to go once I wrap this part up. For the 4 of you, the key is just making sure you get your sales up. So from my understanding, Colleen, about 3,000, 4,000 sales. 5, 6.
Almost 6.
Okay, you've increased. Good.
Almost over 6.
6, almost 8. 3. Okay, cool. So you're here. That's the first step. If you're here, you've got a shot. The key is have a big week this week. Don't forget about the post-conference pop contest. Don't forget about the PR contest. We're gonna have a competition for the SC3 push, which starts in it starts in 1 week. SC3 push. So we'll go from there. Any questions? Okay, and the gentlemen, for the 3 of you that I'll be meeting, give me 1 minute while I set up, and you guys can just hang out here and hit some music and use the restroom. Okay. So for the 4 of you leaving, I'll hit the music. I'll walk you guys out. You guys are good to go. Okay.
If you need to make my heart